What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Extra DFS, and in today's video, I am going over the Super Bowl between the Seahawks and Patriots on Draft Kings and Fanduel. Just because this is a Super Bowl, I'm going to go over both sites. And the reason being is you get some difference in pricing, and it might entice you to play more on one side, more the other. I know with fantasy over, dynasty over, best ball pretty much over. We're looking to do anything and everything to try to get some money somewhere and have fun. So let's get into it. So really quick off the bat, we get similar pricing on both sides for the top players. Pretty much the top six is all the same: JSN, May, Darnold, Walker, Stevenson, Diggs. We go to FanDuel, JSN, May, Darnold, Walker, Stevenson, Diggs. And then here's where it gets completely different on both sides. Cooper Kupp is right after Diggs, and then Travion Henderson is right after Cooper Kupp. Now we go back to DraftKings, and we're going to see a huge difference. Cooper Kupp is 5,200 on DraftKings. He's below Hunter Henry, Booty, Myers. And then we go to Travion Henderson, and he is even cheaper. He is way down here on the list. So if you were to like someone like a Cooper Kupp or Travion Henderson, you might lean more towards DraftKings, kind of swaying that way. And then you get somebody like a Hunter Henry at 7K on DraftKings. And then he's fairly priced on FanDuel, 7,600. So I kind of like Hunter Henry on FanDuel, even though FanDuel is half PPR. So there is the difference in that as well. So that is something to look at. So that's just some of the pricing. Let's get into the players now. So for the top guys, there's quite a lot to like for this top player pool. There's JSN, who you look at JSN, and he's been one of the most consistent receivers for fantasy this season. Not put up too much stinkers this year, put up some really solid, consistent numbers. He is the most expensive. He is going against a Patriots secondary that's played really damn good in the playoffs. Regardless of, hey, they played the Chargers, bad offensive line, they still shut down that receiving group. They went and faced Houston, who Houston popped off, the playoff week before, played really bad. And then Denver, if you want to throw the Stidham, the weather, all that stuff in the mix, it's okay. JSN is going to be the number one target for Seattle in this matchup. Obviously, the price point is kind of tough to go if you want to get, both quarterbacks. It's really hard to afford the top three. So you're pretty much choosing between two of these three. And Sam Darnold, you could pair up with JSN. Or you want to go Drake May and a run back with JSN, and then we fade Sam Darnold. I'm preferring the JSN and Drake May, and this is on both sides too, right? We get the similar pricing, so it's nothing crazy. And then we get to the running backs, where I do like both running backs. I think I like Ken Walker easily a little bit more. It is a tougher matchup. New England has played the run really well, but Ken Walker, so far in the playoffs, has been their guy, especially with Zach Charbonnet gone. We've seen him get some receiving work too, which is a plus. It's not that he is the only running back, because we're going to go down very, very cheap. Holane at 2,400 on DraftKings, and yet again, where you're going to find some difference, because we're going to go on FanDuel, and we find Holane at 4,400. I mean, similar pricing in a way, but we get some other options. DraftKings, I think he's a bit of a more value. And he is kind of the receiving guy for Seattle now with Charbonnet. So we'll look at him to take that next step for Seattle. So I do like Ken Walker over Ramondre, just because Ramondre still has Travion Henderson there. But Ramondre has been, a more consistent guy for them. You look at his carries, and then we go down to Travion Henderson, kind of look at his work. He has not looked that good in the playoffs, so it kind of seems like New England has shifted towards Ramondre. But we still have seen some poor performance out of Ramondre. He's just been a really, really good goal line back for New England, so he's been pretty consistent down there. And then we get to someone like a Stephon Diggs, who is the wide receiver one for New England. You look at his numbers all season long. These aren't wide receiver one numbers. They really haven't needed him in that role. Like, some teams need a true wide receiver one, like we've seen more JSN, where there's a lot of situations where you need someone like JSN on the offense, versus Stephon Diggs. You don't need him in that role. You have a lot of weapons there. You have a lot of role players that are specific for certain routes, different certain situations. It's a lot different. But Stephon Diggs is the number one guy. I don't really love him in this matchup. I look at someone like Hunter Henry, who is cheaper on both sites than Stephon Diggs. Um, I just saw him. Where'd he go? Hunter Henry. For some reason, yeah. Hunter Henry right here compared to Stephon Diggs on FanDuel, a $2,000 difference. On DraftKings, it's a $1,600 difference, so quite a bit of a difference there in these pass catchers. I like Hunter Henry. Granted, he hasn't put up really good numbers, but he's also faced defenses that play the tight end really damn good. Denver and Houston has been two really good defenses against the tight end. Seattle has not been that good versus the tight end. So I look at someone like Hunter Henry in this matchup to see an extended role than what he has in the playoffs. Going down cheaper, there's not a lot of guys that I'm pretty high on trusting. Kayshon Boutte has put up some numbers. 10.6 against the Chargers, 16.5 against Houston. The Denver game, I look away, but the targets have been there for Kayshon Boutte. He's just a pretty steep price at 5,600. Like, he is desperately needing a 10 plus point performance. What I'm more looking at is the kickers in this one than a Cooper Kupp, than a Kayshon Boutte. You go and look at FanDuel and you look at their prices. You get Myers at 68. I'm not even going to try to say it because I'm going to botch it. But New England's kicker at 6,200. Those are kind of the guys that I'm looking at that at those price points, kind of for the mid tier. And then I'm yet again looking at someone like an AJ Barner on Seattle, the tight end, going against New England. New England hasn't played the greatest against tight ends overall this season. And we really haven't seen AJ Barner been included a whole lot in the playoffs. So I'm kind of looking for the tight ends to see an extended role. You're getting two pretty good damn defenses, especially in the pass game, especially against wide receivers. So I'm kind of looking at the tight ends to get a little more volume in this game than they have in the playoffs so far. That's kind of the game script that I'm going with personally. You could see things completely different. That's all right. That's why we play DFS. That's why we have these discussions. That's why some are right and some are wrong, right? But the game script I'm going for is the tight ends are going to be included a little bit more than what they have so far in the playoffs, with two really, really good pass defenses, especially in the secondary, right? So we're kind of looking at the short game, the running back kind of receptions, the tight end receptions, kind of going there for the short game. So liking both tight ends, liking the kickers, just because this could be a very big defensive game. Like, we've been so used to the last, I don't know, handful of Super Bowls having a lot of good upside high scoring games. We're getting two pretty damn good defenses. We're getting a New England offense that hasn't been that productive and efficient in the playoffs. We're getting a Seattle offense who, I mean, they're very efficient, and I'm not trying to take anything away, but that is also boosted because of what their defense has been able to do some games. So like, yeah, we're leaning. If you go and just look at Seattle scores, right, in the playoffs so far, they've basically hit the over on by themselves in both these games, right? 41 points. I think the total's at 45 and a half. And then 68 points against the Rams. So Seattle's played good games, and then you go and look at New England's points. 17, 44, and 19 in the playoffs. So there's a very realistic situation to where the kickers outscore a lot of these guys, and the defenses are, one is optional or optimal, sorry, in this slate. So yes, I'm liking the defenses. I do think for the price point on DraftKings, we have to mention Trayvon Henderson at 3,800. Although, like I said, he just hasn't been efficient. He hasn't been productive in the playoffs for New England. Anything can happen. And for that price point for a running back who has had that upside in the past this season, right? He's still a rookie, so past is just this season. We have seen that upside in Trayvon Henderson. So at 3,800, I think he's easily playable on DraftKings. Versus FanDuel, we talked. This is why it matters. He's 8,200. So in my opinion, he's not playable on FanDuel. Him and Cooper Kupp are just not playable. They're not playable on FanDuel, and it's unfortunate that they're in that price point. But that's when you start to get more Hunter Henrys, Kayshon Boudet's, Matt Collins, Rashid Shaheed, AJ Barner, Demario, like all these guys gain value on FanDuel because of the pricing of a Cooper Kupp and a Trayvon Henderson. Versus DraftKings, I think it's very fairly priced. Rashid Shaheed is worth mentioning as well at 4,200 just because of the special teams upside he's had. He's going to be one of those threats to where Seattle might have to get a trick play out of their book, get a deep pass, get a run with Shaheed. So he's worth a shot. I don't know if I fully love it, but he's worth a shot. And then we're looking at the values. Someone like a Mac Hollins at 3,600 over a Keishon Boutte, where you're getting a huge price difference, has been included, I mean, quite well last week against Denver. Obviously, didn't play the weeks before, but we saw the upside going into the playoffs. So I'm come back in a nice roll, 7.1 points. Now it's 3,600. So I do like his role there. Someone like Demario Douglas may get in one play, and the play is very impactful. And you could say the same thing for someone like a Kyle Williams. Really hasn't been included, but we've seen a couple plays so far in the season where he's that deep ball threat, which you're probably not going to get against Seattle, but I mean, for the sake of a dart throw, that's kind of the routes to go there. So I'll try to do a lineup on both sides. We'll do a lineup on both sides for you guys and just see what we can come up with. So let's captain it. Let's go Drake May. Let's go JSN. I want to get Ken Walker. Let's throw an AJ Barner in there. We're not looking really good at price, and I can't really afford Hunter Henry as much as I'd like to. So let's go cheaper and see what we could do. And let's go with let's see what Demario Douglas unlocks, 41. So we could go Patriots. We can go someone like a Patriots defense who, granted, said they played some pretty damn good playoffs, or play in the playoffs. So we could go that route. Granted, it's probably not the greatest build. Getting Drake May with Demario Douglas. We're just saying Drake May probably gets a rushing touchdown, maybe a passing touchdown or two, but outscores Sam Darnold. We're saying we're getting Ken Walker for Seattle, so we're saying like Seattle can move the ball down the field. Maybe Ken Walker gets a touchdown or two, and then JSN and Barner put up some points. Demario Douglas is a pass catcher for New England, and maybe, right? The Patriots are able to get a pick six, special teams touchdown, get some pressure, get some sacks in there. Their defensive lines play pretty damn good, so I'm fine with getting a defense in that line. Now let's do FanDuel and see what we can come up with on FanDuel. So let's see if we can go kind of the same route. We're looking pretty cheap so far, 7,000 remaining. Let's throw an AJ Barner in there. That should definitely help us out quite a bit. Let's go Hunter Henry. We can afford Hunter Henry on FanDuel. We're left with 7,600. Let's get Ken Walker, see what that does. That leaves us with 4,100, and we can also get a Demario Douglas. So we could kind of go the route we wanted to go, not get a defense on FanDuel. We get Demario Douglas, we get Drake May, we get Hunter Henry, we get JSN, AJ Barner, and Ken Walker. So kind of the same thing, except we are able to get Hunter Henry on FanDuel. So yet again, just some examples for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hope the Super Bowl is a good game. I can't wait for it. Getting a rematch of a game we saw years prior and didn't think we'd see these teams in the Super Bowl, but here we are. So hope you guys had a good NFL DFS season. I know I enjoyed the roller coaster that it was this season, and just at this point ready for next season to go, ready for that reset. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one.